Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. Obviously, we are in the deadest times for SC, so we're not going to be doing our typical Answer the Call podcast stuff. So this time of year, I love to bring on my friends and just talk to them. Last week, we had Space Cutlet. This week, I messaged Noodle like late last night. I was like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast today? And just kind of talk and have a good time. So that is what today's going to be. And just a little preface is I just played. I was in a prospector. I got stream sniped by a viewer in a Talon with C788s. And we kind of like me and Noodle started this conversation a little bit before the podcast. So trying to catch you up with it. I came back in a Gladius, tried to fight him off, had no chance. These weapons are like massively unbalanced. So hello, Moist Noodle. How you doing? And I guess before we get started into that conversation at all, some people might not know who you are. What do you do? You stream on Twitch? I know you're making some YouTube videos now. Where can people find you? All that kind of stuff.
I'm a famous YouTuber now, dude.
Are you?
Yeah, I stream Monday to Friday on Twitch.
Do you watch television shows on stream?
No, but I do watch the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy when I go to sleep. So
nice.
On stream, that is. So
nice.
Yeah. You fancy a bit of Lord of the Rings?
I love it.
Come hang out in my channel. It'll be great.
Good luck.
Yep. Thanks. But yeah, I stream Monday to Friday on Twitch, and I'm trying to smash out the YouTube videos at the moment.
Yeah.
I think I've pumped out like 3 in the last week and a short, and I'm currently just trying to finish up my script for my voice attack tutorial.
Ooh, nice.
We're 7 pages into the script, so
it's gonna be long.
Pretty hefty. It's gonna be chunky.
Noodle uses voice attack. Utilizes it more than most people I've seen. Like, I'm pretty sure you have like a landing one that requests landing for you and take off and all hangers. That stuff. Yeah.
I have one for spamming ping, and it has like the sonar sound from a submarine, so it helps me see in the dark, like at Grimhex when it's in the dark and stuff.
That's cool.
I have one for requesting repairing and rearming and refueling and all that kind of stuff. So neat. Pretty sick. Oh, and I was pirating yesterday with Hannah. So like,
she just posted
when we catch the prospectors, when we catch the prospectors, I can use voice attack just to quickly call the target and end the calls with the targets and stuff like that. So,
nice.
Oh yeah, I've got pussy mode activate as well.
What's that?
Which so when I say pussy mode activate, it presses Alt F4.
Nice. I have a thing where I don't use it currently, but where chat can use channel points to Alt F4 me, throw a grenade at my feet, or blow up my ship.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of trollbot stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But the one thing, like for mine, it was for tips and bits, and I kind of stopped doing it because I realized that it didn't matter what price I set stuff to. People were actually that crazy.
Yeah.
And constantly being ejected from my ship wasn't as fun for me as it was for chat. So, yeah.
I have the same thing, but they never used it because I didn't really give them a detailed list of how to make it happen. So
yeah.
But okay. So we were talking a little bit about, I guess, how it's like kind of ironic. I don't want to talk about the Ion too much, but how it's a little bit ironic that they balance the Ion and then we have these issues with C788s that just, of course, it's a bug though, right?
Well, we should probably explain what the issue actually is, right? Yeah. Which is that explosions from C788s or rocket pods, missiles,
anything with
is
explosion damage, right?
It's actually an area of effect, right?
Yeah.
And essentially there's an issue at the moment where either all or too much of that damage is passing through shields, and you have to bear in mind how the components are laid out in a lot of fighters. A lot of the components, because it's a small ship,
They're on the surface
obviously
now.
they're on the surface, and a lot of them are in the spine, and they're all clumped up together in a very small area. And it literally takes 1 to 2 hits from like C788s on like a Gladius or whatever, and your ship will literally turn off because literally all the components are dead. You know. Um, and the point that I was coming to just before we actually started the podcast, when we were having the conversation, was, you know, over the last year, CIG has actually done a really great job of, I hate to use this word, balance.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing was perfectly balanced, but if you think back to like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was always a meta ship, whether it be the Talon, whether it be the Saber, whether it be the Super Hornet, whether it be the Arrow. From patch to patch, there was always a meta ship. And the last year, they've done a really good job in encouraging people to fly in more variety of ships for combat. And obviously then the Ion came out, and one of the major complaints that I had with the Ion, not specifically the ship, but more about the knock-on effect that it had to the rest of the game, was we went from, when new ships come out, you do see a lot of people hopping into that ship and flying it because it's a new flavor of the month, you know, and space dads be space dads. But it was very different with the Ares, in that it felt like every single person that I was interacting with in the verse was flying the Ares.
Yeah.
It was pretty overwhelming. And it didn't really go away up until the nerf. And it just felt really disappointing to me that CIG had gone from doing such a great job of encouraging people to fly a variety of ships to suddenly us having a meta again. And you might be wondering, you know, what's the problem with having a meta? Well, the issue that I personally have with having a meta is it just, in terms of combat, and when we're talking about combat ships, just makes combat so boring.
Yeah.
Everybody's flying the same way, using the same tactics. And it just gets, it might be fun for a few days or a week or whatever, but it does get very old very quickly.
I think like one of the best examples of why this was so bad is if you look back to, and man, this is like, you know, I'm an old man and these are my glory days, is the fight or flight tournament. One of the coolest things was every time we didn't know what ship we were going to be in next, and it was the conversation that we had to have of like, okay, we're up against this is how we have to play it. And each time it was like slightly different. There were some slightly different strategies, and there was these different ways, like, oh, okay, I'm up against this is what we have to do. We have to target this person first and fly this low and do these things. But if it was always the Ares Ion every time, it would just be the same strat every time, and it would be boring. So, yeah.
And this is a thing, like, we've known about the issue with the C788s and the rocket pods for quite a while, and people in the PvP community have luckily managed to keep it under wraps for a little while. And I know that Burks, I was actually watching his stream when he did it, and this is kind of where, like, content creators do have the whole thing with, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. These are sorts, I used to have the mindset as a streamer of, I think it's really good to highlight these sorts of bugs because then it kind of encourages CIG to try and fix them.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on and as my channel has grown, I've come to the realization that actually all that really does is fuck up the fun for everyone. And this isn't me digging at Burks at all, because to be fair, like, he didn't really know what he was going into when he was just kind of messing about, you know. But I do worry now that a few bigger content creators have kind of pointed out the issue with the C788s and the rocket pods, that we might end up, obviously the Ion has been nerfed, if we might end up going back to a friggin' meta of everybody just flying around in Gladiuses and Talons, you know?
Well, here's how I would respond to that. I think it's more of an issue of timing rather than an issue of highlighting the issue, right? It's the
Yeah.
the issue gets highlighted at the worst possible time period because there's nobody around to fix it.
Yeah.
And the other
I mean,
issue
yeah.
is just general CIG's fucking development process, which is horrible. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, we put out the 0.1 patch. Like in this case, we put out the 3.16 patch. We're not going to be coming back for a while. And guess what? If we put out the 3.15 patch and we found this, we're not putting in any balance, any bug fixing, anything until the 0.1 patch. And that's kind of the problem is there's no like quick hotfix opportunities to make sure that if there is something game breaking, they wait a month to fix it. And they wait and bring in all the replace me ball fixes, and then at the very end it's like that thing. And again, like I've been saying this for months, we have to treat the live build with way more respect. C788s,
I agree.
the Ion, those things can't exist in the live build. They have to be dealt with as soon as theoretically possible.
This is one of those areas where I get really frustrated with CIG because, again, we've known about this for a long time. It was being reported for a long time.
Yep.
And somebody in chat said, "Oh, what are we doing, hiding bugs now?" No, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is, as content creators, we have a responsibility where if there's a game-breaking exploit, we shouldn't necessarily be highlighting it in front of a large audience. Right, these things have already been reported to CIG. They are aware of them, but where I get really frustrated is that CIG just doesn't act on it until it's a major issue. It
sounds like you're blaming the creator, and I know you're not. It's the issue here is the action on the feedback.
Oh, CIG. It's all on CIG. Don't hate the player, hate the game at the end of the day. You know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my rant over about the scenario that you ran into this morning.
Yep.
Obviously it was a stream snipe. The person admitted that they stream sniped.
I don't care.
In itself is disappointing. I know that you don't care, but and the realistic thing about it is that
I would care if I was doing something I cared about, though.
Yeah, content creators can't really combat it in any other way than play the game.
Yeah.
And build a community around them. And I think the mindset of people who stream snipe like that is, oh, just get yourself security. But
you can't secure against the C788 though, too. But yeah,
but it's not just quite as simple as that, you know.
No, it's not.
It'll be very interesting to see how we deal with these sorts of situations once the game is actually released. You know, and we actually have something to lose.
Well, I was talking about this a little bit yesterday with Virgil, actually. And basically through the whole advent of Jumptown, I kind of had the light bulb go in my head, along with some other conversations with my friends, about the fact that, like, I've been taking my org, like, very casually. I haven't done anything with them in months. We haven't done any organization of anything, right? And I have 12 members on the actual website. We were, like, running it through my Discord. It was really bad. And remember when we all got together that one morning and then Shadow Moses came in and just, like, rolled?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, wow. That must have been so fun for them. That was so cool to just see how organized they were. And I was like, I want that. You know, I don't necessarily want to be Shadow Moses or do pirate type things or, you know, combat things necessarily. But I was like, I miss that. That's what I loved about being in the other MMOs that I played, was that group mentality, that highly organized, let's get together and do all these things. And I was like reinvigorated to do that. And sure, like on the stream sniping thing, all I would have to do there in that situation is call my friends. Like, listen, he's going to get me in that one spot. Also, I knew he was coming, so I could have just left, but I didn't. Like, there was all these scenarios that, like, I could have done something about it. But in the future, this is an MMO.
Were you mining at an outpost?
No, so what I was doing is I was preparing for the possibility of, like, kind of ramping this org back up and figuring out the way that we would do things. So I found some rocks and I broke one of them. There were two together. I broke one, I left the other, and I placed a box there. And I left the object container and came back to see if everything stayed. Did the broken rock pieces stay? Were they inert? Did they have the material that was in them before? I left and came back, and they were. And then I went and mined another rock, went back to the refinery, sold, and then came back to that spot. And it was really weird. This was a super, super weird thing that happened. I found the box. I got to the spot. All of the broken rocks appeared for a split second on screen and then despawned. So I was like, oh, okay, weird. But not only did the ones that broke despawn, the one that I never touched despawned. So I don't know, because what I was planning on doing was like prospectors be prospectors. They actually look for the stuff, and then a mole would come in and just scoop up the scoopable material and then just sell it. But yeah.
I just want to respond to something that Esfer said in chat. So Esfer's the person who did the stream sniping.
Sure.
And Esfer says, let me ask you this. If one org gets intel on another org's operations for an evening and knows their exact location and when they'll be on, in what way is that different from stream sniping? And why is one a protected class while the other isn't? It's not that streamers are a protected class, dude. There is a major difference between somebody giving you a location and listening in to voice comms, right? That's the difference, dude. Knowing exactly what a person is like doing in the exact moment is very, very different to just being given a location and a time.
One's like in-game.
Yeah, like it's absolutely fine to be given just some information. Oh, I think this person is going to be here at this time, right? But like literally having, yeah, you're right. You can have a spy, whatever, but you're not going to be getting like the same quality and level of detail as literally watching a stream, dude. Don't even like.
I get his point, though.
Try to pretend that they're the same thing.
They're somewhat similar. I get what he's trying to say. Why is one a protected class and why is another one not? I mean, dude, it's the same thing as if you were sitting next to me and we were playing Halo when we were kids, and I'm hiding behind a box and you just come around and kill me. I'm gonna punch you in the arm because you definitely looked at my screen. It's just 2022 like screen looking. Everybody knows you shouldn't do it. And I agree, like what Icy Jones is saying in chat. You have the opportunity to prevent the spy. I don't have the opportunity to prevent the snipe. But at the same time, it's also one of those things where, like as a streamer, that's one of the risks that you take. That's why I don't really make that big of a deal about it. And if I had my org, what were you gonna do? You couldn't do anything, right? If I had a group of people to talk to, you're just one person. But again, if it's the scenario that he talks about, and it's like a whole org gets a bunch of information, and then it's org v org, and they know exactly what we have and come with the meta to destroy it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I've kind of accepted the fact
you want to keep the game in the game.
I've kind of accepted the fact that I'll never be able to actually play the game on Moist Noodle, right, on that account. I play the game on, I have like 4 alt accounts, and I actually play the game on those. Because like yesterday was the perfect example, and this isn't like meant as a dig at the person who did it, but you know, me and Hannah were pirating, and we had our Mantis snares set up ready to go, and literally somebody recognizes my name straight away within like 2 minutes of me being on the server and says, "Oh, it's Moist Noodle." I'm like, "Thanks, Scott, dude. I was trying to like, you know, stay under the radar. That's why I wasn't talking in global chat, you know." And yeah, I think and this is definitely something I've thought about. Sorry that this kind of turned into a conversation about content creation.
And like I said, we're going to go wherever today. It's fine.
Especially over the last month, I think I've kind of come to a realization of what type of content that I'll be creating as a Star Citizen content creator. And it's just playing the game super casual. Like, I don't think I can really play the game in a sweaty way anymore, because the thing that I've really noticed and this was a conversation I was having with Hannah yesterday, because she was asking for some advice about streaming. Engagement is absolutely key.
Yeah.
And even when you're a sweaty, highly skilled dogfighter in Star Citizen, if you don't have really great engagement with chat, your channel will die on its ass. Doesn't matter how good you are. And it can be very, very difficult to maintain that engagement when, so for example, a couple of days ago, when I was pirating with Cutlet, he came and hung out with me. We ended up blowing up a guy in a prospector because he didn't want to pay, and then he made the mistake of using the word or the phrase "I'm stalling." So we knew his friends were coming, so we blew him up, and a whole org turned up essentially.
Yeah.
And we ended up in this massive org fight, or rather, it was kind of my viewers versus their org. And when you have, and they had good pilots, and when you're fighting at that sort of degree, like all the interaction with chat just goes straight out the window. And it was like 2 hours of that. And I notice in my stats straight away when it kind of tails off. Whereas when I just play the game super casually, and I just chat with chat, and I just run bunker missions and bounty missions or whatever, that's where my channel has really grown over the last couple of months. It was when I came to that realization. So kind of bringing it back to the sniping thing. It's, sniping isn't necessarily the end of the world unless I think you take the game super seriously. And in terms of Star Citizen content, I don't think I'll really take it super seriously going forward. I'm just going to be a filthy casual.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that works, but I'll say this, because there's one last thing, and we'll leave the sniping thing here. For the person who did it, he said, I don't know, if an org decides to have high visibility in their Discord or post events publicly on Reddit, my philosophy is they reap what they sow, and that extends to streamers. Fine, whatever. Your opinion's your opinion. You're going to have it. The difference here, and the problem is that most game companies, as well, NCIG is one of those game companies, that is against their terms of service, is what your opinion is against their terms of service. So I'm just giving you like a general warning, like, I'm not fucking reporting you. I don't care today, but another day I might. And
well, here's the thing: it doesn't matter
another
what you
day
think.
somebody else might report you. It just comes down to it is against the terms of service in the game, whether you agree with it or not. So you just should probably be careful. That's literally
Here's
where I want to leave it. It's not an opinion-based thing. It's just a fact.
There's 360 people watching right now, and it doesn't matter whether you report him or not. Any of those 360 people could report him, right? And here's the thing: Xylo put out a full post about it.
Like, it was a whole dramatic thing like a year ago.
Yeah, it was dumb. Meh, whatever. Let's move on.
Yeah. It was super dumb, but just like in general, it's not a thing that you should practice just because you feel it should be a thing. That's basically what I'm saying. I get your point of view completely. Like, I'm literally sharing my screen with the world. It's gonna happen, But yeah. So I don't know. Jumptown's over. What do we do now? But I think the main thing I want to discuss a little bit more is about what you said about being a casual. Like, don't you like? This is the realization that I came with. Like, sure, I don't expect, like, with my org or whatever I want to do, I don't expect it to be the most like sweaty, ridiculous thing. Especially because it's going to be more mining, cargo hauling, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more laid back. It's a little bit more chill. But every MMO I've ever played, the most fun aspects of it, or the whole core of it, is playing with a group. And when you say playing casually, like, obviously, like, we jump in and play together. You jump in with Cutlet. You jumped in with Hannah. But don't you feel like you might need that going forward at some point? The game is starting to come together very, very slowly, but more and more and more, and it seems like more and more and more you need that situation, because it will actually be hard to enjoy the game without it. That's the kind of light bulb that went off in my head. It was like, whoa, I need to get on top of this now, because if I don't, I'm gonna miss out on so much fun in the future.
I'll say this. I think I'm really enjoying the variety of gameplay that we actually have now.
Yeah.
You know, back when I was still with Shadow Moses, all we really had was PvP, really, and a couple of really crap missions.
Yeah.
You know,
A little different now, especially
yeah,
Jumptown. Jumptown changed the game.
Yeah, for a long time, I still kind of clung on to just PvPing, and I'm really glad over the last few months I've kind of broken out and I've started doing more stuff, because I'm going to be honest with you, I can only do the bunker missions so many times. We definitely need more variety there.
Yeah.
But it is really nice, you know, doing a bunker mission and maybe doing a bounty, maybe going and chasing a player, doing a little bit of low flying, doing a little bit of PvP. Jumptown really opened my eyes as well to, and it's something that we've talked about before, actually playing the game in different ways.
Yeah.
You know,
the stealing meta was so fun.
Yeah, and the video that I threw up onto YouTube, I've watched it back a few times, you know, and that's some of the most fun I think I've ever had in the game.
Yeah.
You know, I for years, I talked about the old Jumptown and how much fun that we had at the old Jumptown. And realistically, the thing that made the old Jumptown fun was the fact that it just encouraged players, it filtered players into one area. You know, when we have 50 player servers, and you have such a large play area, it can be sometimes very difficult to just find other players, you know. So to actually have a location where players are filtered into an area, that's lovely. I think the Ninetales event is absolutely trash. No disrespect meant to the person who designed it. I'm assuming that they must have run out of time or something, but blue players, it's supposed to be a PvP event, right? Blue players, rewards for blue players, I think are fantastic. But the most money that I made during one of the Ninetale events over Christmas, as a red, was 16,000 UEC. And I attempted it multiple times, because the problem is this, right? So the way that the mission works, for those who don't know, blues are supposed to run medical supplies to the station. Reds are supposed to kill them before they deliver them to the station. But blues are also supposed to go and defend scan ships, and a marker will pop up. The blues are supposed to go to that marker, and then the scan ships spawn in.
Yeah.
And then the reds are also supposed to destroy those scan ships. However, if the blue players are killed before they get to that marker, the scan ships never show up. So if you have even one competent red dogfighter, right, the blue pilots won't even get to the spawn point of the scan ships, so the scan ships never show up. So you get stuck in this situation where there is literally nothing for red, and red pilots don't get financially rewarded for killing players. So you get to this situation where there are no NPC targets on the field whatsoever to award you money as a red player. It's so badly designed, and I really think they should not run Ninetales again until it's had a complete rework, because it does not work at all. But yeah, Jumptown was absolutely fantastic, and
the reason it's good is because it's just, hey, go here.
Pretty much.
And then no NPCs involved, no mission logic involved.
You know, and we've talked about this before, me and you. The conga lining there, I actually think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I think I watched one of your videos before on YouTube where, you know, you mentioned the Vendel Mask event, and sorry for the motorbikes. Sorry. with the Vandal Mask event, obviously, it definitely wasn't within the spirit of the event to conga line that event, you know. Whereas with this event, Star Citizen is a multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you can, this is gonna be the wholesome comment of the day. You know, I think Jumptown is actually a great opportunity for people to make new friends inside of the game, rather than on a Discord or on Twitch or on Spectrum. You know, you actually have the opportunity to meet somebody at a location and you get chatting to the guy who stood in the line next to you over VoIP. I think that's sick, dude. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think it's very interesting that I'm so glad that they actually put up a schedule. Because that was a major complaint.
The schedule, it is good that they did it.
That was a major complaint that I know a lot of people had when they've run events previously. It's a shame that the Ninetales event had a weird timer at the beginning of it. They should have just not put the Ninetales event on the schedule, in my opinion. But I think it's interesting that they ran Jumptown at specific times on specific days, but then they're also doing a couple of 48-hour Jumptown events.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're doing that to try and gather data. Because I don't know how much you took part in the original Jumptown or if you did at all, but
a little bit.
As much as people talk fondly about the original Jumptown, what people don't really talk about was it was only really like non-stop action for a couple of weeks. And then it died a death very, very quickly because there wasn't enough money. There weren't enough things in the game for you to spend money on because you couldn't buy ships and whatnot in the game at the time, really. It was only really components and stuff, right? Once everybody had made their money, they didn't need to go back there, right? Or, you know, people just burned out. Because that's definitely something that I suffered with this Jumptown, was burnout. I don't know if it affected you at all, but man,
well, the time zone stuff was brutal. So for me, it was complete. If I had it at my time every day, I wouldn't have been burned out because it would have just been a normal stream for me. But because it was all off my time, my whole schedule was fucked. And then working at the same time, like one of the days I was just like, fuck it, I'm calling out of work because I can't keep doing this. But I gotta keep playing Jumptown. So fuck it, I'm not going to work. Who needs money?
It definitely gets addictive. But yeah, I have a funny feeling they're just running a test to see how running it for 48 hours affects like the economy and to see, I guess, like how many people actually engage with it over the 48-hour period and like at what times or whatever. But I still stand by what I said before, and I know that there are lots of people that feel the same way. I wish there was a pay-in.
Yeah.
Because it feels really weird to me.
That's what takes away the org v org aspect of it. Because the pay-in is like, I paid for this, I want to hold it. And then the other one is like, you paid for it, I want to take it. And that doesn't really happen.
Yeah. And Mark in chat actually mentioned if JT had anti-air defense and required ground attack whilst maintaining air superiority would create more variety in gameplay. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I really wish, I kind of wish there was a pad there or something, just something that encouraged more ground-based play. There was a day, I can't remember who I was playing with, but there was a day when I rolled up with a load of people and we took, right at the end of the event, we went in with ground vehicles and it was sick, dude. It was so freaking cool. And obviously there's a ballista. The ballista does have a bug at the moment where randomly the torpedoes are invisible and the person who's having the torpedo shot at them doesn't get any warning that there's a torpedo coming, like no lock-on tones or anything, which is...
I thought we're not supposed to share these kind of issues, Noodle.
Which is scary. Well, I'm just throwing it out there, all right? You can do with it whatever you want, chat. But the issue is like rearming the ballista is an absolute nightmare at the moment, right? Obviously, it won't be so bad when we actually have not the vulture, I forgot what it's called, the ship for rearming. That'll be pretty sweet. Vulcan, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I've literally just regurgitated everything that I've talked on stream about for the last few days.
I mean, for the last few weeks, like this is all we have right now. It's so exciting and also so scary all at the same time, right? That something so simple like this has like reinvigorated most of us to want to play the game. I mean, I think the best example of how good it has been is during Jumptown. How many times have you seen the same name? I don't think I ever came across the same name. There are so many people playing. There's so many servers running. There's so much action. It was during the holidays. People were checking out the game. It seemed like people were enjoying it. They were making friends, being friendly, like all these things. And then, you know, some people weren't, and it was fun on every side. And that is both awesome, but it's also scary that it takes this, but this is going away. This is gone. It's gone for another 5 days, and we don't have anything to do until then. And what happens after that 48-hour period? What are they going to do to maintain that kind of like the game doesn't have the foundation to continue this on with any sort of variety. There's no other funnel actions that are happening in the game to be like, hey, here's a marker for some other cool thing. Go over here. Oh, by the way, it happens to be in a cave. Or, hey, hey, miners. If there is a massive, just on one moon or something like that, there is just a massive field of Quantanium. It just spawned in. Go check it out. You know, and then you got the whole aspect there. Like, that basically is what they need to, I think, keep the game going until they can up the player counts. So it's just like they need to just talk about low-hanging fruit. If this is not the best example of like just make different varieties of this in different ways, yeah, go for it. Like make FPS only versions, mining ones, cargo hauling ones. I don't know what else could be a possibility, but just anything that would bring everybody to one location with a little bit less restrictions as far as weapons and stuff go. I don't know.
Yeah, this is literally what I've been saying since the original Jumptown. Yeah. You know, I was saying at the time the thing that made it great was that it just brought players to one area, and you know, every time I mentioned it to one of the devs, they were like, "It's coming, Noodle, it's coming." Like for 2 hours, for 2 years, I've been told something is coming, and it's just infuriating that.
Like I wonder. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just frustrating that it's taken so long. Like they realized a long time ago that they needed something that filtered players into an area, right?
And they literally made a mission with a marker, go here, and it took 2 years to do it. Like, was it the fucking voice acting that took so long? Like, these are the things that it's like, guys, I know game development is hard. I know nothing about it, but give me a fucking break here. This can't be that difficult. This can't be that difficult. How hard would it be to do something like this? Think of the Vandal Mask event redo, whatever, however you say it. Let's use just Jumptown as an example. Jumptown is there. If you have I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to do it. Some sort of a capture the flag, not a capture the flag, a territory.
Oh, here comes the copium, everybody. Like we're going full copium.
No. I don't think this is at all. I'm thinking about like how can you easily make the game fun? King of the Hill, that's what I'm trying to think of. What if you had a King of the Hill scenario where if you somehow had control, maybe you have to flip a switch, something like that, or I don't know, shoot something on a station, something stupid. You are the king of that hill. But then all that does is just like Jumptown, it spawns a mission with a marker. Everybody go here. You're king of the hill. If you're king of the hill, you earn X amount of money per minute. And if you kill anybody while king of the hill, then you make more money, something like that. So just straight up PvP. And then if you kill 10 people while king of the hill, you get the Vandal Mask. Something like that. Could be like a straight PvP ship combat event. I'm just trying to think of all aspects of the game, how you could bring it to a mining scenario, how you can bring it to a straight ship combat scenario, how you can bring it to an FPS combat scenario, and so on, and just do that. I mean, in space. So
the other thing that they need to work on as well, that they need to work out, is dynamic team balancing, right? And what I mean by that is Ninetales event is the perfect example. You know, when it's literally red versus blue, you need to be doing something as a game designer to encourage players to choose a side dynamically. Because otherwise you end up with the Ninetales scenario where, you know, even if there's one good pilot on one side kicking everybody's ass, right? Then they should have a system that encourages people to join the other team to try and balance it. Although I'm sure that there are some people who might not want that kind of thing because of the, you know, what Star Citizen is supposed to be. But just for the sake of like these types of events, right? I'm not talking about for, you know, events that happen organically within the universe when it's like an actual game event. But I don't know. They definitely need to add more that encourage players to be in a given area. You know, it's just been so nice actually engaging with people. And, you know, I was lurking Cutlet's stream the other day, and he randomly started watching my Jumptown video, and he said it's so nice watching Noodle doing something other than flying a ship. And when he said that, I realized that actually, around Jumptown, I've spent pretty much the majority of Jumptown not actually flying ships but on foot, which is very rare for me. And I think that's another reason why I've enjoyed it so much, because again, I've been playing the game in a much more different way than I normally would. And those interactions on the ground were so good. Like, I still feel really bad about the guy that I brutally murdered, who stood there for hours in the conga line, pulling boxes out of the machine and kindly giving boxes to people like Candy, like a drug dealer candy whisperer or something, I don't know, right? He stood there for hours. And then I turn up right at the end of the event because somebody self-destructed a ship outside, so there's nobody loading boxes. And the poor guy is literally stood there piling all the boxes in front of the doors. And I open the door and I grab a box, and he just steps up and he says so proudly over VoIP, "There we go, mate. Is that enough for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, mate, that's fantastic." And then I brutally murdered him. And like, these are the sorts of encounters that make this game great, right? And it's, dude, I want more of it, man. I feel like I've been given a drug sample, right, by CIG, and I want more of the drug, right?
So here's from chat, and I think this is an interesting point, but I don't think they get it. Is why I like came up with all these stupid ideas. Is the player? He said the player should have the tools needed to generate the content. All these artificial events just make this a theme park game. None of us are. I don't, at least from my point of view, I'm not asking for a theme park game. What I'm saying is it's impossible to have the tools if you only have a 50-player server. So these all have to be the current implementations of the game to make the current thing enjoyable, so you don't have to go around stream sniping looking for a miner to kill because you're bored, right? Like, that's literally the point of all of this. Is if there are these tools, these are the tools we need now, because 50-player servers in a really big map, essentially. That's
what we're asking for them to do is to create gameplay with the tools that they have right now, not the imagined tools that they will have 5 years from now, right? And like, Jumptown is a great example of what they can create right now with the tools that they have. Sorry about the cars again. Sorry.
No, it's fun to post the emotes when it happens. So yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things where I think we all know that we have at least a year before server meshing is even remotely a reality, and most likely it won't be. If you are playing with a bunch of friends, what are you going to do? You're half the server. You're literally half the server already. So it's these scenarios where if we're not being brought together, what are we going to do? It just comes down to the stupid conversations that we had early on, because everybody's bored. Everybody's bored. That's what it is we've all done the same things for so long. Nothing really matters. There is no economy in the game. And for the first time ever, just even just a little of like, hey, I held down Jumptown for a few minutes. That matters more than anything else you've probably ever done in the game, right? So it's yeah, it's
You know what's really
exciting.
funny?
But I hope they really see the value in what that was and be like, yeah, that's got to be on our priority list this year, is like making as many of these as possible, and just having a bit of fun with it.
I think it's really funny that I think 3.15, 3.16 are a couple of the best patches that we've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And these events over Christmas have been, well, Jumptown has been absolutely fantastic. And I know within a few days of this last Jumptown finishing, I will be sat here complaining like a bitch about how bad the game is because there's literally nothing to do. Because I've done all this, I've literally done the same missions to death. I can't, and even the atmospheric bounties, don't get me wrong, the atmospheric bounties really cool. But
you're still fighting against a ship that can barely shoot back. Like, this was the one thing, like, when I talked about, like, revamping my org and bringing it back, I absolutely refuse to get in a multi-crew ship and sit in a turret and shoot at a bunch of ships that can barely shoot back. That is boring. That is bad. Yeah. That is not fun. That is not something I want to do. So, even though mining may be boring, at least I can go, okay, what's the most efficient way I can do this? How can I do this better? Like, that's just the only way I'm seeing it. And then there's other aspects of it that I talked about early on in my stream today that could make it more interesting. And we're going to have to RP it a little bit, too. But I cannot sit in a turret and shoot at an NPC that can barely tie his own shoes. It's stupid.
Why do you think when I run into the bunkers, I do it naked and I just karate chop all the NPCs, dude? It's literally to make the point, right? How bad the desync is.
Yeah.
You know, and then think about it for a second, that the desync is so bad that I can run into a bunker naked and karate chop all of the NPCs to death. Imagine like how bad it is in the ships, you know, moving at 1,000 meters per second. Ugh. Sorry, I'm so salty today, dude. I was in such a good mood when I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody.
No, like, well, it's just when you talk about the state of the game, it's hard to not be like, damn.
What can we look forward to? Can we be positive?
Well, I think, like, again, I think
refactor.
Well, if it happens, I don't know. And at what, I mean, how many times has it been delayed? And have we seen any actual work towards it? I haven't, so I don't know. Like, that's one of the things that I just, like, when I see it, I'll believe it. It's 6 months away. We're not going to see any of it anytime soon. But if it happens, it changes the game completely. But to what extent? Like, one of the things that I hope it comes with is not just cargo. That, like, okay, Orison, absolute shit to go down to and come out from, but has all the good components, right? So what if you did a C2 run in an Orison and you had to bring the quantum drives out of there or whatever, you know, your shields, whatever you're buying there, and get it to the location that you actually want to stay at? That kind of cargo hauling, you know? Then you're talking about doing talk about like bringing my org back. Then you're talking about doing logistics for somebody like a pirate org that doesn't want to deal with that bullshit. Right?
I would pay somebody so much money to go and buy my components for me.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be cool. But I think it just, for me, the thing that I look forward to is the fact that they went, oh, we actually seem to care a little bit about the experience on the live servers, so we're not going to put out 3.16, we're going to give you 3.15 too. Oh, by the way, even though we have a perfectly good fix that's coming within the next 6 to 8 months with the entity graph thing, we're going to make sure we do this heartbeat thing for your spaceships to make sure your cargo haulers don't lose anything when we 30K. Like, and then at the same time, make sure that the servers are so stable that I haven't had a 30K once in the last month. Like, actually caring about those things is the thing that I can look forward to. I don't care how buggy this game is, and it is so fucking buggy at the moment. The fact that I have been able to just go and play and test and try and figure things out and try new things without thinking about, oh, I need to hurry up. The 30K is going to come soon, right? We've been playing like that for literal years. As you're playing, you're like, well, man, I better hurry up and kill this guy, or I better hurry up and bring my refinery goods to the spot because I'm going to get fucked. Nope.
Do you remember
don't
when
have
we
to worry
didn't
about
even
that
have
anymore.
persistence, dude? So you would have to try and do a mission chain before the server 30K'd, otherwise you'd have to start the whole chain again. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. So there's it's insane. So that is a big deal. And now, like, if anything's like been game changing, it's that. But now it highlights how buggy the game is. So it comes down to the thing that I look forward to is hopefully they go, all right, we got to fix that stuff. And then we have a somewhat smoother experience with what we have now. And then, I don't know, 317 looks kind of decent. Selling, sort of interesting. There's a couple other things, but I can't bring it up right now because it would pop in front of your screen, I think. I could pop it up real quick like this, though.
It's alright, I'm not
things
important.
coming in 317 that are interesting, I think.
I always forget. I pay such little attention to the roadmap at this point because it changes so frequently.
Exactly, and I don't feel like I don't bother with it because what's the point? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It just like a month before Evocati is when you can start kind of thinking about it. But persistent hangers. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. Mining gadgets or whatever. Ship to ship refueling.
But what actually
cool
are
there.
persistent hangers?
So when you go to any location, I think they're getting rid of the pads. So when you go to any location like Hurston or any of the stations, you request landing and your hangar spawns. But it's your hangar. It's the first step to the cargo refactor. So when you buy cargo, it goes to your hangar.
Doesn't seem very immersive to me.
What do you mean?
Is it going to be the same? So is it like
Think Elite.
a magical hangar that teleports around, or is it per location? It must be per location, right?
No, it's a magic... Dude,
that dude.
How can it not be a magical
Somebody
hangar?
needs to tell Chris.
How can you think that?
He clearly doesn't know. Dude, no.
What do you mean? How can it not be a magical hangar, at least at this point?
Yeah.
There's 50 players in a server. There's 5 hangars at a location.
No,
It's
what I mean is like, is it one per, like, so you have like an inventory for a hangar at Port Olisar, you have an inventory for a hangar at Hurston, etc., right?
Oh,
I
okay.
don't mind if it changes position.
I'll read it for you. The ability to have persistent hangars at your starting location and temporary hangars at locations you're visiting.
Okay, so it's not like magical, like it's teleporting across the universe.
I live on Hurston. I store my stuff there. That's kind of what it is.
Okay.
Yes, but it's still magical
nice.
because there's going to be a lot of people that live at Hurston, and there might be only 20 hangars. That's what I meant by magical.
The real question is, when are we going to be able to take a coffee cup and leave it in a forest?
I don't know.
Right.
That's an answer only Chris can tell us about fucking 500 times for the last 2 years, and it never happened. So yeah,
I'm really excited to do that finally.
I bet. Yeah,
it'd be really good.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. But no, I think 317 looks better than I thought it would. Because the ship-to-ship refueling could be pretty cool.
Dude, I can't wait for that. That'll be really cool for like the Daymar Rally and stuff. You know?
Yeah. I mean, think even Jumptown
finally,
people were running out of fuel floating above and stuff.
100%, yeah. Yeah. But while it might not seem super useful right now, wait until Pyro's in, yo.
Yeah, because they said that there aren't many refuel stations there, right? So it's kind of needed for it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And then 318, it's basically just a cargo refactor that excites me. I mean, salvage is there, but we all know that's a meme.
Yeah, that's a can that's going to get kicked down the road again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. The whole thing about salvage is they keep calling it hull stripping and the repair of ships. That's not salvage.
It's mining
That's-
ships, dude. It's
Yeah,
literally going to
it's
be mining
another
ships.
fucking laser, man. It's not salvage. Salvage is for me. Salvage is when you take an item. Like I blow Moist
Dude,
Noodle up.
Snap.
He has the. That's not gonna happen. But I take his power plant out of his ship, and it is now my power plant. That is salvage.
All right, dude. All right, bear with me. I've got a list of star citizen careers in front of me. Let's work out which ones are going to have lasers, right?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Bounty hunting. Well, we already use our guns, right? Those are lasers.
Yeah, but also tractor beam, right?
True. Exploration. How could you use a laser in exploration?
You put a laser beam through the jump point, and then you automatically can fly through the jump point. It tracks it.
You're so smart,
Jump point
dude.
laser. It's gonna be blue. A blue laser. There you go.
Okay.
All
Information specialist.
Um.
You use a laser to hack a computer, right?
Yes. So you laser the ship too, and that will hack the information, and it's just like a tight beam, yeah, comm laser. You watch The Expanse.
Nice.
Tight beam. Yep. Same thing.
There we go. All right. Medical. We already have a medical laser.
Yep.
Mercenary, kind of same weapons. Mining. We already have a mining. Oh, this is going to be how are we going to work this one out? Passenger transport.
Oof.
You scan their faces to allow them onto the ship.
How about this? You laser drinks into their mouth like a tequila gun.
Yes, dude.
So they're having a good time.
That's so good.
Right? Easy.
All right, you win. Okay. Yeah.
Next.
Piracy, tractor beams, and guns. Racing.
You gotta use a laser to see how fast we're going.
True, and the finish line, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Repair. Well, we already know that's coming. Salvage. Well, that's the opposite to repair, right?
Yep.
So, science. They use lasers in science all the time, IRL, right? Like that's how they worked out the COVID thing. They just pointed lasers at people or something. I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
So
that's gotta
smuggling.
I mean, tractor beam.
Oh, true. Yeah. And we already have trading, although we don't use lasers for trading.
Tractor beam.
Oh, tractor beam. Yeah. Well.
Which okay. That is the most triggering thing ever. Do you remember that SEL where they were like, well, we use lasers because it's easier? And it was just like...
I mean, they're not wrong.
Best damn space sim ever, by the way. Meanwhile, literally every other game will be like, oh, okay, we'll at least create this other item that has a little bit of a different animation to be like, this is how you heal a broken arm. Instead of press B, bzz. Like, how cringe is that, dude? Like, I can't believe we look at these guys and go, they're doing things better than anybody else. Like, those are literal comments I see on my YouTube channel. How can you say that stuff when you see and hear the things that they say? I almost feel like everybody that works there, and I hate to do this because I feel like I'm being super disrespectful, but this is what it feels like when you hear things like that. Like, you worked your way up from a junior at CIG and never learned how to actually make a game. You only learned like it's like I think the best example is where I work now. Is like if you became a poker dealer where I work now and you learned how to become a poker dealer there, you are a shitty poker dealer because you never learned how to be a dealer in a real scenario, in a real casino, in an actual proper place. But then anybody who comes from the outside looks like an absolute god tier employee because we actually know what we're doing. That's what happened with me. I came there and everyone was like, whoa, you're really good. And I was dealing this one game and this guy tipped me like $10, let's say. And one of the dealers who'd been there forever comes behind me and he goes, you never tipped me like that. And he goes, well, if you were as even remotely as good as Mike, maybe I would tip you more than I do now. So it's like that, you know? So that's the kind of scenario that I feel like sometimes happens at CIG. They just hired a bunch of junior people, they worked their way up, and they never actually learned how to do anything. So, and like that was the scenario that it was just like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe my ears.
I
Like,
get what you're saying.
Just
It
look
does,
at Escape from
it
Tarkov,
really...
dude. They have a tool to heal a blacked out arm. It is a special tool. It has a special animation. It is its own thing.
Is it a laser?
I have a laser. It is not a laser. I have a laser that does everything.
Do they have...
It's so stupid.
Do they have any lasers in Escape from Tarkov?
Yes.
What is it?
The little...
Oh, for aiming.
Aiming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm not very... I don't understand guns.
No, my
I'm
workmates
British.
watch my streams. So if they hear this, I'm sorry. You're probably not that great of a dealer. I don't know. Some of you are.
Savage, dude.
It's just true. It's just true. Like, I worked in like Vegas style
dude.
casinos. Where I work now is just not.
It does frustrate me when I see people talking about Star Citizen like it's a game that, I mean, it is a game that has never existed before, right? I'll give them that, but it's not like they're creating everything from... In fact, this is what pisses me off about CIG, dude.
Is they are creating everything from scratch, and they're not doing anything like normal.
They try. This is the thing. They try to, right? Like they think, right? We have to create we have the technology, and then they spend like 5 years trying to make a new technology, and then ultimately throw it in the fucking trash can and just make something that they used in friggin' armor. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like World of Warcraft or whatever.
Like, here's the
and it
best
drives
example,
me insane.
Does anybody use the other med pens, the colored med pens?
No, dude. I was thinking about this the other day. No, exactly, dude.
The little laser gun should never exist. You should have to use the other med pens. But the thing is, the other med pens shouldn't be other med pens. They should be this unique thing. And I know it's a tier 0 implementation, but don't... Tier 0 has to be different than what it is now. That's unacceptable. That's not the best damn space sim ever. That's not doing things differently. That's literally doing things worse.
Don't worry, Theaters of War is coming soon.
Moment of silence for Theaters of War. Heads down. Noodle. Silence, please. Silence.
Right.
Okay. We hardly knew ye. Only a few hundred people got to play it. That was it. I guess it was on Evocati.
Did you play it?
No, I never played it. It was on Evocati, but as always, they do tests when I'm at work, so I've never played it. Have you?
I'll talk about it. Yeah. Multiple times. Many times. Yeah. Like 10 times. I thought it was pretty rubbish.
Yeah.
Well, I take it back.
I mean, Star Marine is.
It was okay. It was okay. Like the combined arms stuff was great, but the performance was so bad, dude.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't give it to us. Like, you're not saying anything that people don't know about.
And like the maps didn't feel very Star Citizen-y at all.
Yeah.
Ask me anything about Theaters of War, chat. Time for me to break my NDA. I'm willing to go down with the shit.
No, don't break your NDA on my stream.
You guys will never see it.
See, here's the thing. You're on my stream. So you're willing to break your NDA on mine so you won't get in trouble.
God,
but I probably
dude.
will. So no.
No, I would get in trouble, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No, don't break it. But at the same time, it's I think you haven't said anything they haven't already said, and that's why we never got it, is the performance was never good enough, but I don't know why it never became a thing. It's kind of a bummer. I think it's because not enough lasers.
I can tell you why.
They need a Theaters of War laser and we'd be fine.
It just comes down to the performance, because here's the thing. If they release it while it's pretty much unplayable, like bear in mind that I run around bunkers karate chopping people, right? I came across a miner at an outpost the other day. I landed next to their rock. They got out of their rock and they pulled a gun on me. So I ran back to my ship and I flew it. They tried to get the rock back into the back of their freelancer. So I just plopped my ship in the entrance to the freelancer so he couldn't park his rock in there.
This was so funny, dude. I saw this.
I I got back out of my ship. He got out of the rock. I ran away like a little girl. He came chasing after me with his gun. I hid behind the landing gear. He came running at me. I karate chopped him, grabbed his gun and killed him. Like, that's how bad the performance is in this game, right? Like, and people wonder why Theaters of War isn't out. Well, if they release Theaters of War with the game in the state that it's in right now, you'll have people memeing, running around karate chopping each other for about a week, and then it'll be dead like Star Marinas. And then it'll never be used ever again. Be
Star
right?
Marine. All you have to do is play Star Marine to know the state of Theaters of War. You shoot people with a shotgun, they force react, fall down, and like teleport all over the place. It's such a disaster. So and Star Marine's not on a planet, and Star Marine should not have performance issues, yet it does as well. So it's like just major problems that need to happen.
You need to change the title, dude, of the stream to Mike and Noodle bitching or something. I don't know. I feel like all we're doing is whinging.
That's every stream, but I don't know. What can we do? Like, that's the whole thing, is like, what can you be positive about after playing Jumptown and not having it ever again? Like, you just wanted.
I think that's exactly what the problem is, dude.
Yeah,
I'm so
we got a taste
sad.
of the sauce, dude.
Yeah, I'm just so depressed now. Hey, dude.
We got some juice, and now we're all out of juice. So what do we do?
You know what I did last night? I had this thought, and this was something I actually did. I stopped for a second, and I was like, right, what am I gonna do between now and 3:17 for content on my stream? And I clicked on the calendar on Windows 10, right? And then I counted the weeks until 3:17 is supposed to be out. And then I closed the calendar and I got into bed and I cried a little bit. Because it's so far away, dude. Yep. It's so far.
Yeah. I mean, you have 3.16.1, which will hopefully have some bug fixes. I can't remember. The laser trip mines and the derelicts, I think, are the main things that are in
blowing up constantly everywhere I go.
Yeah, everywhere you go, there's just going to be a laser trip mine. I'm constantly going to be walking, looking down, people placing laser trip mines all over the place.
But don't forget, guys, Death of a Spaceman.
Yeah.
Oh, mining gadgets. Oh, yeah, I really look forward to that one.
No, that's 317. That moved to 317. So,
oh, yeah, that's another laser. Yeah, good point.
Oh, yes, there's a laser on the mining on the whatever they're called, the laser trip mines. Yeah. They even use the word laser in them. It's beautiful.
Apparently tomorrow we're getting our buyback tokens.
Okay. Do you ever use them? I never use them.
I don't think I've ever used one, dude.
Me neither. I don't play the spaceship game on the website.
No, I don't.
I hear it's more exciting than the one on your client, but never done it.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. I don't know. So you really don't think you're gonna play with any sort of an org? How are you gonna?
Oh no, I'll play with orgs, but I think I'll just kind of.
You're gonna be a freelance.
Yeah, just hang out with different people. I'll be the happy smiley guy in the verse. You know what I'm saying?
I think we have enough of those.
Well, I was thinking of like taking my photo album around and show people my screenshots.
You should make a Patreon.
For my screenshots?
Yeah, or your like high-level positive view on the game.
Well, I do use Reshade. If you want to check out my Reshade profile, please go to my to twitch.tv/moist_noodle and ! Reshade in chat. Oh yeah, I could, NFT screenshots. Speaking of which, shall we take a bet now on the dates when CIG announced their NFTs?
They're not. Can we not?
Well, you can bury your head in the sand, but we know it's coming. It's CIG.
Can we not? I'm
giving them. Well, I was going to say 2 months, but we have to think on CIG's timeline, so probably 2 years.
I can't with you, Noodle. CIG coin.
What? Just being realistic.
We already
mate.
have NFTs. It's the same thing. What's the difference?
Dude, I saw a picture. I saw the best tweet this morning. Somebody posted a picture of Beanie Babies like, oh look, they sell NFTs at the airport.
Exactly, dude.
So good.
It's just the next grift. It's so stupid.
Oh,
It's so
funny,
stupid, dude. It's just another grift.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, I don't know, streaming and everything. Everybody's trying to find their quick bucks so they don't have to work. And I think this is just the next new one. Everybody wants to be a content creator, right? Because it feels like that's the next quick buck so you don't have to work. But then they try to do it and they realize that's not the case at all. You know, I think case in point, I don't think me and Noodle like ever sleep ever. So
I went to bed at midnight and I woke up at 3 a.m. That's why I'm so tired right now.
Yeah.
Oh
and me,
God.
I worked all night, came home, stayed up a little bit because I have family here, and woke up like 4 or 5 hours later. So it's kind of the same thing. We're just a little beat today, but I don't know. I thought we were going pretty strong in the beginning, and now we're tailing off a bit. But I don't know.
What do we talk about, dude? There is literally nothing to talk about. What do the other podcasts talk about?
I think they talk about, like, I think they do a lot of Imagine stuff. Like what they think. What do you think the next year is going to be like? What do you think? We're doing this podcast this day next year. What do you think what do you think you're going to be doing? Do you think you're even going to be playing SC?
I'm very excited for the next year.
Me too.
I think this next year is going to be the year. I genuinely think this next year is going to be something very special.
I think I'm going to end up becoming like a pirate this year, mostly.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. I think with if the cargo refactor actually happens, I think that's like not only the most fun thing to do in the game probably, but it's going to be the best content.
I think by this time next year, you know where I think we might be? Almost at the start line.
No fucking chance. No chance, dude. No, because
that's depressing.
How can you say you're almost at the start line when they hope to have the like basic ass bitch version of server meshing in by the end of the year? They hope. You know they're not going to. The starting line it's not even in your POV until server meshing is a thing. How can you even think that? I think for me, what I hope and what I kind of hoped from this year, and I think kind of COVID got in the way a little bit, was I hope that in the next year we have basically Star Citizen is like a space DayZ. So you kind of can start with very little and you go and you can get everything from other people, and there might be like some hot spots to go to. And that's what people fight over. And maybe they give us some tools to have some interesting interactions. That's what I hope from this year, is hopefully a space DayZ, but a little bit where there's some areas where you can. It's not all combat all the time. You know?
Yeah.
There will be less player interaction than DayZ, unfortunately, because the map is too damn big and there's too few players. But at least the foundation for a space DayZ.
When I say the start line, I don't necessarily mean server meshing. What I mean is,
I think everyone's start line is different, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, the start line is when I get to a point where I'm not constantly thinking to myself, oh, I wish I had this tool, right, that isn't in the game yet, like tractor beams on ships for pirating, or Um, having things like refueling, salvage, repair, that is kind of where the start line is for me. When we have the absolute basics of what you need for to complete the gameplay loops, if that makes sense. I'm not going as far as things like exploration because I kind of see that as additional.
What would the basics be to you?
Well, the biggest thing realistically is the cargo grid refactor. Like, there's nothing. When I was pirating with Hannah yesterday, the first guy that we caught, I am the politest pirate ever. I swear to God, dude. I call the person, they pick up. Shall we have a pirate interaction right now?
You and I?
Yeah, I'll be the pirate.
Okay.
And you'll be the miner.
Okay.
All right, here we go. A bit of roleplay chat. All right, there we go. Good afternoon, SaltEMike. My name is Moist Noodle. Thank you for stopping and pulling over for a moment. I noticed that you have some ore on your ship. Now, this is just a friendly social interaction in our 50-player MMO. I'd just like to take a moment to talk to you for a moment. If it's okay with you, I would like to request 10,000 UEC. It's not much. I know. I'm aware that you're a very rich person. But I'm just asking for a little bit. I am taking the time to have this conversation with you. So if you could transfer the money over, don't worry. You don't have to respond via VoIP. If you can just respond via text in the DM, that would be fantastic. But I hope you're having a wonderful day. How's your day going, Mike?
I'm pressing backspace right now and self-destructing.
Exactly, dude. It doesn't matter how nice you are. To be fair, the first guy did pay, all right? But the second person self-destruct straight away. Like, and in global chat, fuck you, Moist Noodle.
Yep.
And there's like you're literally pirating with the hope that somebody is going to be nice enough to send you some money, right? And there's nothing that you can do about it.
Just backspace, boys. Easy clap.
So yeah, having physicalized cargo will be fantastic, so we can actually have something to take. Having ship tractor beams will be fantastic. Having the Carrack not be faster than any ship that can snare it would be fantastic. Or Q idiot would be fantastic. Refueling would be fantastic. Repairing would be fantastic. The ability to have my friends who are blue go and buy components from me when I'm red and bring them to me would be fantastic. I'm sure there are some other things I probably can't think of right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be happy with that kind of stuff in the immediate future. And it's all stuff that's coming sooner rather than later, you know?
What I'd really love is, you know, like how we have the player trading app, to actually like be able to trade items and stuff. Once you could sell items, hopefully that UI will get kind of ported over to the trading side as well.
I'm with Fluppix as well, physical damage, because I'm fed up with ships just exploding. It's so lame.
True, dude. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Although it does feel really good when a ship explodes and you're the one who did it, you know, but
yeah,
I don't know. That's really satisfying to me. It may not be as satisfying to you anymore because you've done it so much, but ship combat interactions are really fun. And when you are at the end of the other explosion, it feels good. Feels very satisfying. Although I am finding myself, Noodle, coming across people who are like really sweaty now, like all the time. It's kind of weird.
Dude.
I'm like, like I was told that most of the players are really, really bad, but it seems like most of my interactions are like, these guys are really good. I had one interaction that I've talked about recently a couple times. Is I had a bounty on my head because I accidentally shot a guard in a bunker, and the guy who came after me was in an arrow. I was in an Aurora, and I fought him off, and I was like, yo, that feels really good. That felt awesome.
Yeah, dude.
He ran away. I didn't kill him, but he ran away. And I had an
It's
Aurora.
so nice. Something that I said when we got the newer flight model, when all the PvPers were complaining about it, was I really appreciated the fact that the one thing that this flight model did was it narrowed. It didn't necessarily bring the skill ceiling down, but what it did was it narrowed the gap between the people who are great at the top and everybody else.
Yep.
And I think
bad
we're
as that may
definitely
feel
seeing
like,
that now.
as bad as that may feel for like the really top guys, like you must be getting way more fights now.
Oh yeah, it's way more fun. It's way more interesting.
And it's
it
way
does
more fun
get...
for me. I gave up because it was too hard. I didn't
Yeah,
care to make an attempt.
Yeah, and lots of people felt that way, you know. But yeah, it's way better now. There was something else that just popped into my head, and it just popped straight back out of my head again. I'll probably remember it in a second. Sorry.
I don't know.
Oh, consequences. Actual consequences would be nice. Because that is
Well,
yeah,
what would consequences
said,
look like in the game? We're in such a weird spot still where the game is so buggy that losing components when you die can't really be a thing. Losing rep can be a thing, right? But rep doesn't really have that much of a impact and mean much. So what would consequences look like to you?
Why can't we lose components?
Because when you get out of a ship and your ship just explodes after you've landed it safely on the ground, you would literally lose all your components. Think about the 700 other scenarios of why a ship would explode when it's not at the other end of a weapon, right? There's just, oh, I launched a missile, I got hit by my own missile and lost all my components. Are you fucking kidding me? There's so many situations still. It's so problematic. At some point, like, I know you and I look at this game more like a live service than an alpha, but at some points you have to realize that it is still very much an alpha as well. So it's like I want them to focus and care more about the live server so we don't have as many buggy issues like this. But at the same time, some are inevitable and just don't work, and
so
it's problematic.
They built the new live experience QA team.
Yeah.
In the summer, right? And they're still trying to fill that team out. And I know that Winter K, or K Winter, has actually moved from the marketing department into that department, which is actually really exciting. And knowing some of the people who are on that team, it does actually give me some confidence. Because, you know, Winter, for example, is hugely passionate about Star Citizen. And Winter, actually, I didn't meet him through like Twitch or anything like that. I actually met Winter in Grimhex.
In game?
I was in this, I was in the store one day buying armor, and he was also buying armor, and I complimented his armor, I think, over VoIP or something. And then we just got chatting, and that was that. But obviously, they're still trying to build up that team. They're probably going to be trying to work out their workflows. But the whole point of that team is to try and improve the live experience, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting, I think, over the next... I wouldn't necessarily... I think we're already starting to see some improvements.
Absolutely.
Because of that team. But I think over the next year, hopefully... we'll see.
They just have to prove they care.
It might be more significant.
Like, this year doesn't have to be like this groundbreaking year where they change everything and the whole game changes and it's amazing, but they just have to like be like, yo, I'm not just a ship sail simulator. Like, that's basically what
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. The Cutlass Steel genuinely left a bad taste in my mouth, dude.
Same.
Like, that honestly really did feel... I felt really disappointed.
I was like, oh wow, they're money grabbing hard on this one. It's even worse than the Odyssey. Holy shit.
And it sold really badly as well.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people probably felt the same way. It was just... I mean, I didn't mind the idea of the ship that much, but the price they charged for it was absolutely ridiculous.
I don't mind the price.
Wait, what?
Okay, hear me out, though. Hear me out. It is just in line with every other dropship.
Yes, but it dies instantly, unlike
so
every other dropship.
So did the
Dude,
other
the
ones.
Valkyrie is way tankier than the Cutty, dude.
But it's still not tanky enough. So they're
it might
all
not be
bad.
tanky enough, but
They're all bad. They're all bad. They all like my issue is I think the marketing is straight brainworm and has always been forever. And it's the worst thing ever and I hate it. But the thing that pisses me off is when you put out something like that and go, here's this thing, enjoy, and it can't even possibly do what its intended role is. But that goes for every dropship, including the Prowler, right?
They're all overpriced, to be fair.
They're all overpriced. Everything in game is overpriced, even the Aurora. Okay, literally everything you buy, guys. We're talking about $100 or more for literally everything in a video game. It's a video game, and you could buy these things. Like, it doesn't matter. You could buy them in game. The price is irrelevant to me. It's the straight up idea of having no understanding of how the game works whatsoever. How are we having dropships which are meant to drop troops on the ground, so they must be able to survive some level of combat in order to do so, have size 2 shields? You can't. But then you have a gunship that has incredible firepower, have 2 size 3s. So you can't kill it. The gunship is what the dropship should be. It makes no sense. So, yeah. The marketing is its own thing. The price is its own thing. But you gotta have people who get it right in the game. I can't have confidence in anything you do if you can't have the basic understanding of how the video game works even remotely. You have no fucking clue. It's so clear. And it's so clear that it was just thrown in there. Hey, we need something for Jumptown. Oh, throw some guns on the Cutlass. That'll be a quick and easy thing to do. But then we don't think about anything on how it works. Half a server in a ship that dies in 2 seconds.
How many Cutlass steals did you see during the Jumptown event?
If it wasn't us memeing, none.
Yeah, same.
0. It could have been kind of useful, actually. Think about Comrie goes down, you have the guns on the side, and you just shoot everybody outside. But the seats are the thing that make no sense.
Do you know you can take the guns off the doors and put them onto ships, and they have unlimited ammo?
They're size 1s, though.
Yeah, but you don't have a pip.
Okay. That makes it a little harder.
Yeah.
Do they converge?
Yeah. No.
Oof, that makes it really hard then.
Yeah. But like on a ship like a P-72 or whatever, it can be a bit of a meme.
Dude, you remember how you said don't share all these things that are memes and that might not be good?
Sorry.
You keep doing it.
To be honest with you, you have to be pretty highly skilled to make use of them. So yeah, that like one's not the end of the world.
A very small percentage. The ones where you don't have to be highly skilled, like the C788s, that is the real problem. And the Ion. Dude, I went off about the Ion. I watched a video.
Oh, dude, don't. Let's not. No, dude, let's not talk. I can't have this conversation again.
It's so ridiculous. I can't either. I can't. It's so insane.
Okay, let's have the conversation, right? And I'm sorry for the people who have watched my stream and heard me talk about this like 1,000 times before, but it would be nice for me to say this to a different audience. I think the biggest issue with the Ion was not the Ion. Well, I think the only issue with the Ion that was the fault of the Ion was its acceleration, right? I think the acceleration was absolutely insane. But I think the major issue with the Ion, realistically, I'll try to make it quick, Mango, I promise, was high-speed combat, right? Because pretty much every single, like, the amount of people who came into my Twitch chat when I was complaining about the Ion, and they're like, oh, well, you know, I saw Captain Burks destroy one with a Pisces. I'm like, yes, if it's not moving, it's going to die to a Pisces. Like, anyone can kill a target that's barely moving. in any ship, right? But pretty much every single Ares that I was coming across in the verse, which was pretty much every single player that I was coming across in the verse, the moment I get on top of them, giggity, they would, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, they would immediately get straight up to max speed.
Yeah.
Because the only way to outmaneuver me in a light fighter in an arrow is to get the speed up and to rely on desync. And of course, now we're traveling at, what is it, like 1100 meters per second, right? And I'm right over the top of them, shooting them in the back. But the problem with me doing that and shooting them in the back like that is that on their screen, I'm actually like 300 meters in front of them. So now they're shooting me straight in the back, right? And they only have to hit me once, maybe twice. So, man, like, it blows my mind that oh god, Wusa, I need to breathe. CIG is aware of the desync issue. They've stated they are aware of the desync issue. They've also stated that they're aware of the combat speed issue. Yet it's almost as if they haven't stopped for a second and gone, we can make the desync issue for space combat better if we actually just solve the problem with high-speed combat. It won't make desync go away, but it will improve the combat experience, right?
Can I say something? Is it fair that I prefer the steps that they're taking, though, in the sense of, like, I really like that they did the capacitor gameplay first. So when they do slow down the speed, it's going to feel really good and it's going to be pretty fun.
I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that.
So I like that they're taking the steps that they're taking, but it is very frustrating during the process.
But the other problem that I have, I'm really sorry about the rumbly exhaust outside. The other problem was that when they nerfed the Ion, and again, I loved that when I was criticizing the Ion, so many people were coming into my chat and telling me that I was wrong and that the Ion is perfect. And I literally felt like, at the time, an idiot, because it really felt like every single person in my chat was telling me that I was an idiot. But at the time, I was like, look, I have my criticisms of the Ion, and I am telling you now 100% that they will nerf it. And I know this because everybody is flying it.
Yeah.
And when you have that many people flying a ship, there's a reason for it, and it will get nerfed. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it with the Talon, we saw it with the Prowler, etc., right? And one of the things that they nerfed was the fixed aim assist, right? They removed the fixed aim assist, or at least they lowered it. Fixed aim assist shouldn't even be a thing. Why do we have fixed aim assist?
So I can exist. So
fixed
I can enjoy the game.
Fixed aim assist was a knee-jerk reaction to auto gimbals being too strong. And rather than CIG tone down auto gimbals, they added fixed assist.
I get to enjoy the game now, though, and that's the way that they've changed that skill ceiling and brought it together. I can exist in the game.
I'm not saying, right,
I've never
that there
used
shouldn't be any fixed. Here's the thing, dude. How much PvP did you do before fixed assist?
Almost none, because I couldn't do it.
You would be fine without fixed assist, dude, if everybody didn't have fixed assist.
Okay.
Honestly, and the issue was that, again, the whole reason that fixed assist came into being was because fixed was no longer competitive with auto gimbal. Everybody was flying with auto gimbal. Again, they're looking at their analytic data and seeing everybody flying with auto gimbal. And then they're questioning, why is everybody flying with auto gimbal? Oh, because people flying fixed can't compete against people with auto gimbal. So rather than tone down the accuracy of auto gimbal, and this is such a typical thing of CIG to do, they build a new system.
Yeah, but there was also a time then when it was nearly impossible to aim because pips were wiggling and all sorts of crazy shit, right? So
Yeah, and they solved that, right?
yeah,
Like pips are still pretty bad because of desync and they rubber band around, but no longer do we just sit there literally wiggling our joysticks backwards and forwards.
yeah,
You know?
dude, I remember my first training sessions with you and Virgil. It was like, wait, this is what PvP is kind of what I was thinking. Like, just jamming my joystick around, avoiding fire until I can get a few shots. It was like cool, but also was like, oh, this is kind of weird. But that's what it was back
That's
then.
exhausting.
And
Yeah.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. It was exhausting. Fights were like forever. It took forever, and yeah. But now it feels pretty nice. So that's why I'm like, do we really want fixed assist to go away? Because it feels nice. I hear the little noises when I hit ships, and I don't know.
Well, if you like hitting ships, that's literally what auto gimbals were designed for. Like Z Bluff in chat said, fixed assist feels so good. I don't have the time anymore to become a PvP god, and honestly, I can't stand auto gimbals.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't stand auto gimbals, that's literally what you're using. That is
Yeah.
what fixed assist is.
Yeah.
It's auto gimbal. That's the issue that I have with it. It's just you don't have as wide of a zone as you do, or radius as you do with auto gimbal. So
What about what Mango said? How do we feel about the state of ESP? I feel like that contributes to the overly high accuracy we currently have. Like when I changed one of my ESP settings with you, I just was like, kind of really good, and I was like, this is sick. Okay, I like it.
This is why one of the very first things that I do with people is I go through their settings. Yep. Because not everybody uses the same ESP setting, but I think that the default ESP settings are way off. Yeah. Way off what they should be. And the moment that and I don't know how they would really do it in the game, but I spent like 20 minutes talking to my chat the other day explaining what ESP is and how it works. And I had to explain it 2 or 3 times for the majority of my chat to really understand. But by the time I was done, the amount of people like Failamas, like the next day he came in and he was like, I'm actually hitting things now, you know? Yeah. Oh God, people are actually asking. Shall I explain real quick what ESP is?
Sure.
So ESP stands for Enhanced Stick Precision. Essentially what it does, it was designed for joystick users, and it dampens the input from your joystick the closer to the center of the pip that you're aiming. So essentially what it means is, like, as you get closer to the pip, you have to move your joystick more to move your crosshair more, if that makes sense, right? So it just allows you to be more hyper accurate to aim with precision into the pip. It's kind of like an aim. It's not an aim assist in that it moves for you or anything like that, like fixed assist, because fixed assist literally moves the weapons, but it again, it dampens the input from your joystick to allow you more precision. But you essentially have 2 settings in general settings. So as you scroll down in general, you have 1 slider. Scroll down a little bit further, and then it's the next 2 sliders below that. One is for radius, right? So think of the pip. There is a circle around the pip, an invisible circle, and that's the radius. So how far out you want ESP to start taking hold. For most people who aren't very good at PvP, I recommend starting at 20, which is the highest setting. That way it doesn't just grab you. And then the next one is for the strength. And essentially it works on a curve, right? So as you get closer to the pip, it ramps up its strength, and set the strength to like 1.10, 1.20. And trust me, you'll all have a much better time. It does not work with mouse and keyboard, unless I think you're using like VJoy. But play around with it. So the piece of advice that I give people, and this was something that I explained to Mike when I was teaching Mike, is if you find yourself aiming into the pip and then bouncing out to the other side, and then aiming back into the pip and then bouncing out of the other side, that's because either your radius is too small or the strength is too high.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is just turn the radius all the way up to 20 initially, and just, if that's happening to you, turn the strength down and keep turning it down slightly until you're no longer just like, it's almost like polar opposite magnets, like pushing away from each other. Just turn the strength down until that stops happening, essentially. So thanks
Yeah.
for listening to my TED talk, everybody.
There you go. It helped. It helped me a lot. It was one of those things where we went through those settings before the tournament, and I was pretty accurate in our fights. So yeah, it was helpful.
Yeah. You know, and once you've worked on the accuracy bit of it, then you just have to work on your maneuvering from there, really.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's, I think, the hardest part, but that's what takes the most practice. And
it's all right. Just do an Avenger 1 corkscrew as you're approaching the target, and they'll never hit you.
I tried that today. It didn't work. He hit me.
He didn't while you were corkscrewing, Michael.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But all right. We did start early, Noodle, because I do have some family gathering to go to today. So is there anything else that's on your mind? Anything you got coming up?
Not really. I've got a YouTube tutorial coming up for voice attack, which I'm literally just finishing up the script for that now, and hopefully I can get the video out tomorrow. I'm kind of hoping for.
Can you DM me the link to your YouTube channel just so I have it perfectly?
Yeah,
I'll put it in chat now, and then I'll put it in chat, and then I'll put it in the description.
So it's youtube.com/c/moist noodle, I think.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
that's good.
Here we go. But I'm still I'm learning the YouTube thing at the moment, so I'm trying to work out what kind of content I want to create. The one thing I've learned from writing this script is creating tutorials is really technical.
Yes.
It's pretty difficult because I need to make sure like I've got all the titles in the right place and all that kind of shiz. And I'm also making sure that what I'm saying is accurate and trying to make sure I'm covering all the bases. Somebody's asking for an ESP tutorial. I'll consider it. But yeah, go check out the YouTube. I got a really cool video up from when I was playing with Mike and Burks a few days ago at Jumptown. That was actually, it's a shame that you had to leave when you did, Mike.
Yes, I saw the ending, and I'm so upset. You guys had so much more fun without me, but I also think part of the reason why we didn't have fun was because of me. I think I was a little too conservative. I was like, we should just find
it wasn't that,
and
dude.
take.
It wasn't that, dude. It's just one of those things where when you play a game like this and it's open world and kind of organic, not quite with an event like Jumptown, you're reliant on being at the right place at the right time, and it just wasn't the right time yet when you were there, you know. So yeah, more videos coming soon. I stream Monday to Friday from 3 p.m. UTC on Twitch. I'm not normally as miserable as I am today. I normally make sure I have some sleep before I stream.
I am. I'm always like very lack of sleep. So that's kind of why I have the personality that I do on stream, I think.
Somebody in chat asked for a reshade tutorial. That is actually on my list of tutorials to make. So there will be a reshade tutorial coming as well.
They also asked for a refund tutorial. Can you help out with that?
Funnily enough, there is actually a precedent in the UK now for getting refunds. So, although I think after that refund, CIG did change something as a result of it. So I don't know if it's still a precedent. But yeah, exciting times. My channel really feels like it's kind of exploded over the last, it's since the Fight or Flight tournament, really. I've got so many like new names.
I'm so happy I asked you to join, not because we did so well, but because it seems to have really kind of helped you
motivated me, dude.
Yeah, like
it just
mentally.
I was in such a slump. Yeah, I was in such a slump at the time, and yeah, literally, as soon as we came out of that tournament, I just felt so motivated. And literally the next day, I was working on stuff for the channel, you know. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that. And oh man, I'm really excited to see where things are going to go for me going forward. Obviously, Twitch is on fire at the moment, so I'm kind of glad that
don't watch anime. You'll be okay.
I'm glad that I've started on the YouTube stuff when I have. What's my reshade? Luciano, if you go into my channel and just type !reshade, you'll get a link to a guide there. It's in my Gilded.
There you go.
That's me.
But
Thanks for having me on.
No problem, Noodle. And thanks for being my friend. So I appreciate it. And
no problem.
Yeah, I might reach out to you because as I build up this little org company thing, I think that it would be really cool to do some like combat training stuff. I don't know if you'd be down to
yeah, definitely.
I think it'd be cool. I also want to reach out to like, I don't know, Mongrel Squad and see if they can like do a fake real hit on us and see if we can figure out how to avoid it. It would be super cool. Just start working together with them. So that's kind of 100%. What I want to do. But we need people in our org to start that. So I'm going to kind of, that's like over the next week, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the ball rolling and figure that stuff out. So that's what I'm doing is I want to make like a mining and logistics org. But getting it started now in preparation for Cargo Refactor and hopefully things in the game mattering at some point. Maybe, who knows? So that's sort of what I'm up to. But yeah, thanks for joining us today on the podcast on Twitch. But as always, we're going to post it up on YouTube. So if you missed some of this on Twitch, you can watch the rest of it up on YouTube later today. And if you're watching on YouTube, you could join us live on Twitch. Right now, because things are so crappy, I'm just kind of bringing on my friends and just having conversations like we did today. But when we actually have realistic topics to talk about that actually matter, not like the Ares Ion, we will go back to like the caller versions of the show, which is really what the show's all about. So we haven't had too many today, but or the last couple weeks, but I'd like to get back to that in the future. All right, Moist, again, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem, dude.
Yep, and I'll talk to you later.
Farewell.
Bye-bye. All right, and that's it, guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.